Hey everybody, Ethan here from the Happy Pill Project with a quick reminder that if you like the content that we provide on this channel and want to help support us, please immediately smash the subscribe button below. Also, don't forget to like and share useful videos with your friends. If you have any questions, comments, or want to make a technique request, drop us a note in the comment section. Thanks again for your support.
I asked her today, as part of the Happy Soul Project, is that in the future we have like guest people and stuff, like Brandon and stuff, is for them to share some knowledge and like, because it's always great. I know you guys see my perspective on stuff, but I'm always interested in hearing another, because I always look to learn from everybody. I never feel like I always feel like I know nothing. So it's an honor to have her here and be part of her team and stuff. So young lady, take the floor.
So let's work on a little bit of a sequence that I've been playing around with. We've all kind of played around with a little bit, but work on some tweaks from here. So, Paul, can I borrow you? Let's start standing. Okay, so what's going to happen is Paul's going to shoot in for a single leg. Yeah. Stand up, my friend. So shoot in for it and then look to stand. Yes, yes. Perfect. So as he's driving into me, he's obviously making this leg super light. And if he continues this drive or runs the pipe, I'm going to be in some really deep water. What I'm going to look to do is I'm going to have an inside hand and an outside, or inside hand, outside hand. The one that's by the back of his head, I'm going to use this as a karate chop, and I'm going to push his head down. After I do that, I'm going to cover with my own body, and now I'm going to look to thread my hand through so I can see daylight, and then my other hand is going to connect, and I'm going to hook onto his wrist. From here, I look to connect both hands together, and I would like to actually, as I hook my hands together, go more hand on top of hand than looking to grab anywhere on my forearm. From here, I'm going to hook his far leg, and I'm going to have a strong dorsiflexion through my foot. And now I'm going to look to jump in or hop in and then sit to the side that he's looking to attack on. So this is my left side. So I hop, I look to sit, and I'm also looking to that side. You can keep your hands connected, Paul. Like a single leg. Sometimes he's going to have his hands staying connected. I'm going to look to figure four my legs, and I'm going to try and get my figure four right on top of where his grip is, so that as I go to break, it's going to be a nice, easy, clean break. From here, I'm going to look to extend my hands out. I'm also going to take my outside leg to hip scape out to clear his head from my belly. I'm going to scissor, and I'm just going to wind up on top. Okay, I wind up in this north-south position, so anytime that I'm in a point situation, I can just start to accumulate points, and I'm not going to worry too far ahead of the game. So let's get started there. Take a look at it again. Oh, one more time. Yeah. So he shoots in. He gets that single leg. He drives up. My leg's super light. Karate chop the back of his head. I cover. I thread. I cover my own hand, and I hook. Now I'm going to hop. Everything's on my left. I look left. I'm going to figure four my legs right where that grip is. I go to break. As I break, now I'm going to shove his hand towards him. I'm going to hip scape out with my outside leg. From here, I'm going to scissor. I'm going to wind up on north-south position, and I can settle in for my points. All right, now let's go, guys. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Go down. Yeah. All right, so he's in on a single leg again. I like options. I like a lot of different options. So instead of standing, we can also do this from the ground. I hope you guys are nice and warm now. So what I'm going to look to do is I'm going to look to do a similar thing, but this time I'm going to stamp my outside leg up. I'm still going to look to lace, and I still would like to have my underhand grip right by his wrist, and again, I'm going to hold right by my own hand. This time, instead of looking to hook that leg, I'm actually going to scissor my leg out. I'm going to sit to my hip. So again, as I go to break this grip, I want to try and get the back of my knee on top of his grip. If it's anywhere outside of this is going to be a lot more power that I have to try and generate. So I want to go to the weakest point, which is going to be where that grip is. So as I go to extend myself out, from here, what I'm going to look to do is this time I'm still going to hip scape, but this time as I come up, I'm actually going to overshoot my hands. So as I come up, I overshoot my hands, and so his hand's going to be on his chest. My other hand, oh my gosh, is going to come all the way around, and I'm going to grab my own elbow. My hand that's linking underneath is going to grab my shoulder. From here, I'm going to squeeze in tight, and now I'm going to look to step over his head. As I go to step over his head, I'm going to pull my elbows down. I'm going to start to look towards the ceiling, and I'm going to get a really strong bicep crusher. Okay? As I go to sit up, I'm pushing his hand to his sternum just so that this hand doesn't travel outside of here. If it does, you wind up with a kimura. Not a big deal. It's going to still be a finish, but I really want to get this bicep crusher, and I want to crush his soul. So, back in on it. So I'm here. Outside leg is up. I go to lace. This time I'm going to windshield wiper that foot in, and I'm going to sit to my back. I figure 4 right on his grip. I go to break. As I go to break this time, I'm shoving his hand towards him, so I'm straightening my arms. My outside leg is still going to hip scape. I'm going to still scissor my legs, but as I scissor my legs, my arms are going to shoot super, super long. So as I scissor, my arms are shooting super long, and I'm going to wind up not in north-south, but rather I'm going to wind up in this bicep crusher position where we move so everyone can see. I overshoot my hand, so one hand's coming all the way underneath his elbow. I touch my own elbow. My other hand is going to hold my own shoulder. Both knees are on the ground, and I'm belly down. I need to switch that. So I'm going to bring one knee north, and then I'm going to take my other leg and step over his head. From here, I'm pulling my elbows down to my body, so I'm not trying to squeeze. I pull down, I look up, and I slowly start to bring this forward. So my twist is going this way. At the same time, my hands are also extending. All right? So let's give that a try on 3. 1, 2, 3. So here's another option. This time, this person's a little bit savvier, so that as they come in for the single, I still have that outside leg. I still go to lace. I still windshield wiper. I still look to fall down. And then again, I'm going right by where that grip is, and I'm going to break it. From here, this time, he's a little bit savvier, so I can't quite get up. He's actually going to start turning towards me. As he turns towards me, I'm going to shoot my hands long. So I'm actually going to straighten my arms out, and I would prefer it if his elbow actually doesn't really touch the ground. So as he keeps turning, he keeps turning, I'm going to follow with my knees, or follow with my hips, I should say. So as I follow with my hips, I'm going to chamber up my knee towards my head. As this happens, I'm now going to use my heel almost like a tomahawk. I'm going to take this all the way over his shoulder and then heel him right in the chest as hard as I can. As this happens now, I'm going to start pulling him back. As I start ripping him back, my bottom foot, my foot is actually working in this turn, so my whole body is working at the same time. My arms are going to start ripping up on his shoulder, and now I can start leading him to this far side. From here, I can always look to figure 4 my legs. It's not going to be the cleanest figure 4, but at least I start to close the circuit here. His elbow is high enough now so that now I can release my kimura grip and I can start fighting at his elbow. I can sneak underneath, and I'm going to start crushing his soul in a different way. I'm going to start pulling my heels back. I'm going to start hipping in, and now I get not only just a strangle or a really tight choke feeling, but I'm also ripping at that shoulder, so it's going to be this gnarly shoulder lock as well. Feels terrible. Let's do it again. So everything stays the same. I look to sit. I break the grip right at the hands. He starts to come up. As he's coming up, I'm punching his hand towards his sternum or towards his belly. I'm going to now shoot my hips in close to him. As they come in, I would love my knee to get some type of daylight on this beneath him. My top leg, I'm going to chamber this guy up. So I'm bringing my knee as high up as I can, and I'm going to utilize my heel as a tomahawk. So I bring my heel over, and I heel him right in the chest. From here, everything works at the same time, and I need to go to my far hip. So both feet, my heel's kicking back, my other foot's working dorsiflex strong on the ground. I rip all the way up, and now I can look to get my figure 4 or just look to close this circuit right here. From here, I keep ripping up at this elbow. I can sneak my other hand underneath, and I'm going to go wrist to wrist grip. From here, I can squeeze, and I can start pulling and ripping. It's going to be a combination of factors that are going on between a strangle and a shoulder lock. super, super gnarly. Just make sure that as you're squeezing, you don't stop letting go of this elbow and you keep ripping this up and hipping in at the same time. So the whole action will be here. Okay, let's give that a try on 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, we're back here. Same, slightly different. I go to break. He starts to come towards me. He starts to turn. This time he turtles up. So I've reacted a little too late. What I can look to do is that I'm not going to let go of this. So when one door closes, another door opens. I'm still going to look to follow him. My knee is going to come up. I'm going to turn my head towards the ground. I want to post on my forehead or the crown of my head. So don't look to extend your face out because it's just going to be a bad day. I tuck everything, and I'm going to throw my leg nice and long over his back. From here, I have one knee on one side of his shoulder, and then my foot is hooking on the other side. As I continue my roll, I'm going to insert my foot into this triangle area. Okay? I insert this into this triangle of doom, and now I look to sit to my hip. From here, I'm going to aggressively scissor my legs. So as I look to scissor them, I'm going to anticipate that he's going to start to roll. I don't want to wind up just here. I actually want to try and shift my hips so that I face his legs. I'm going to bring my one leg over his shoulder, and then now I'm going to bring my other leg over his face. So I want to think about punching him in the face with my hamstring. From here, I can now start to collect his head, and I can now look to go for my breaks. If his hands aren't even attached together, no big deal. If they are, it's still no big deal because now I can start hooking onto the leg and I can really start to get a strong extension here. I'd like to finish on my side. I don't particularly like to try and finish back here, but there's nothing that says that you can always come all the way back like an old school Ronda Rousey. So let's go again. Let's come this way. So we start off here. I'm putting a lot of pressure in. I get my Kimura grip. I look to sit. I figure 4 my legs right over top of that grip. Now I'm going to come to my extension as he starts to come forward or come up towards me. He's turning towards me. So I know that I've lost my opportunity for taking the back, but I have another opportunity that's presenting itself. I'm going to still pull my knees in. I'm going to turn towards the floor. I'm going to tuck my chin. And I'm going to post up on my forehead. I'm going to now blade my leg all the way across his shoulders. One knee on one side, my foot's going to be on the other side. From here, I'm going to start to insert my foot. My foot's going into that triangle of doom area, and I sit to my side. I'm still being tight with this Kimura grip, and now I'm going to look to aggressively kick my legs. As I'm kicking my legs, it's not just the scissoring action, but I'm trying to force him to turn. So I'm putting a lot of pressure on the back of his skull, and I'm also almost bringing my heel up this way. So as I come over, I'm going to continue my rotation. So now I can pull my leg in, and again, I'm going to look to punch him in the face with my hamstring. From here, I can look to flex my feet underneath his head so that I can have more of that control of his skull. And from here, I can look to start breaking my grip or switch my grip. I like to hook his leg, and now I can start extending my hips out. I'd like to finish on the side, and I'm always going to think about pulling his arm towards his pinky. So if I can get this any kind of extension, or if I have my hand on top of his hand, I'm going to look to grab the meaty part of his thumb, start to extend out, and now I can lift for my finishes. All right, let's try that on 3. 1, 2, 3.